YouTube, I'm back. We got another easy low taper. Watch me turn this to this. So here you want to always start off by combing or brushing your client's hair down, man. Always brush it down. Look at, I promise, if you do a fade and you don't brush it down before, it's not gonna come out how you think that fade came out. Always brush your client's hair down and comb it out. So here I'm gonna start my first guideline, and I usually use my trimmers whenever I'm cutting by myself, but when I do it for a video, for anybody watching this is probably a beginner, I'm using my clipper clothes. And I will admit, I did mess up on this first guideline. I know I say how you start is how you finish, but you can always fix this because I kept it kind of low. So that first guideline, as long as you keep it low, you can always fix it. But I usually like to put my guidelines at kind of like a curve, kind of like I'm doing like a circle. But I ended up messing up a little bit, but the taper still came out fire. So you can see here, I'm gonna use my clipper open, and we're just gonna make a guideline. But you don't want to make it too big because you have to remember you're doing a low taper, not a mid taper or not a high taper. A mid taper would be kind of higher, but this is a low taper, so we kind of want to keep it low. But in all honesty, with this haircut, it's kind of like a mid to low taper. It's like he doesn't like his taper like super low, where it doesn't even like a haircut. This is like a low to mid taper, if you want to call it that. So you can see I put it halfway, and right now I'm just notching that guideline, trying to knock that guideline out. Right here I closed it, and just notching at that guideline, notching it in. You want to make sure that first guideline is very efficient, and because like I said, how you start is how you gonna finish the haircut. So how you start that first guideline is how you gonna start every single guideline. That first guideline come out choppy, mean your fade's gonna come out choppy. As you can see here, I'm gonna go. This is my one and a half guard, and I have it open, and we're just gonna go with the grain. The reason I do it with the grain is just because this is another way of fading. You can actually fade like this if you want to knock the whole fade out like this, but I like to take my time, and I go against the grain and I go with the grain whenever I fade or do any kind of low taper. So you can see here I'm going to start going against the grain. And I think I have it halfway here, and we're just going to notch at it. You see how I'm not just pressed up against his skin? I'm kind of barely touching the skin, because you want to barely touch the skin. You want to take your time, especially when you're doing a low taper, because I used to struggle with low tapers because they used to always come out to be a mid taper. Sometimes I had to make it a high taper, man. So you want to take your time when you're doing a low taper, especially because if you want a detailed low taper, a detailed, nice looking low taper, you want to take your time. As you can see, I'm using the edges of my clippers as well, just the corner. As you can see here, I'm going to keep going against the grain. I have it closed. I have the 1.5 closed, and I was going against the grain. Now this is the one guard. I'm going to also go against the grain. So what I do is I like to use the 1.5 guard and go against the grain, and I also like to use the 1 guard, and I close both of them. I go against it open, I go halfway, then I close it, and I go against the grain. It's just a way better way of getting that fade instead of just going against the grain, and instead of only going against the grain. It's a way better way of getting a detailed fade in the blurry low taper. You can see here I'm on my 1 guard and I have it open. And I'm notching at that guideline, just notching it. Also, this is the fade down process. I like to fade down. I use 1 guideline whenever I fade. 1 guideline, and that's that first guideline I do with my clipper open. From then on, I like to just go down. With this hair tester, I go down with a 1.5 guard. Sometimes I use a 2, but on this video, I use the 1.5 guard. And I just fade down from that. As you can see, I've been on my 1 guard for a good bit of time because I want to show you that, man, if you take your time with the fade, that's how your fades come out way better. It's good to cut fast, but when you're learning, and man, when you're trying to learn, you don't need to be trying to cut fast, man. You need to take your time and cut slow. As you can see here, I'm using my 1.5, no, I'm using my 0.5 guard, sorry about that. Using my 0.5 guard, and I have it halfway, and we just notch it at that guideline with the corners, not that. I do not go against the grain with my half guard. I do not go with the grain with my half guard. I go with the grain only, and I just fade up. As you can see here, man, I'm just notching at it. Just notching. And always make sure you brush after you fade or anything. After you done touch the hair, because the hair is sticking up. After you put that clip on the hair and you flick out with it, the hair is now sticking up. So you need to brush it down to see what your foundation is and, you know, what you're working with, basically. And then right here, I have my clipper open. And so what I like with my JLLs, I like to make them run slow. And that's, if you have a JLL, they have a slow a slow, and then they have a fast one. So I like to make mine go slow, and then right here I just detail with it. And boom, just notch it all the dark spots, man. And boom, I'm just detailing the taper. As you can see, the taper is coming out fire, bro. This is a detailed taper, but you want to take your time to make your taper look like this. Because if you speed up, I promise you that taper will not look like this. Take your time. Don't rush the process. And this right here, man, is the rate down technique. It's a very, very good technique, especially when you're detailing. I'm going to use it right here again just to detail the fade a little bit more. It's going to lay every single hair down that you probably did not get when you was detailing. And then, I'm just going to notch it again. But, yes, sir, that's all you want to do. Just notch at that guideline, man. Notch at it. All right, the rate down technique, though, that's a very good technique. Like, you can do a whole fade with that technique. That's a very, very, very good technique. So I'm going to speed up this back taper process because it's the same thing that you're going to do on your side tapers. You're going to start off with that first initial guideline and knock that guideline out by putting your clipper halfway, then clipper close to knock that first guideline out. Then you're going to fade down with the 1.5, then go to the 1 guard, then go to the 0.5 guard, and then you're going to use your clipper with no guard to detail. It's the same as that thing you would do on the side taper. Same as that thing. And yes, I like to go with the grain as well on the back tapers, especially on the back tapers. I like to do that more on the back tapers than I do on the side tapers because the back taper has more room to work with, and you really cannot fade that hair we're just going up. Like, we're just going against the grain. So you really need to go with the grain on the back taper a lot. But I'm gonna just let this process run, and it's the same process on the side tapers. So here's when I like to detail a little bit. So I like to use my masters. If you know you watch any of my other videos, I love to use my masters. I didn't use it on the side tapers because on the side, I like to fade. I do it like with any clipper, to be honest, but the masters are my babies when it comes to fading though. I mean, when it comes to, sorry about that, when it comes to detailing, the masters are like my favorite clipper when it comes to that. So here's the lineup. When I do my lineup behind the neck, behind the ear, I like to go at a slant, man. I like to, cause it gives it that flair, bro. It gives it that new 2026 look when you go at an angle like this. As you can see, that's fire. I like to give it that. I like to give it that look when I really do his vertical bars as well. I like to give it like an angle look too. It's like a different look than other barbers use whenever they're cutting hair. As you can see on the neck, you don't want to go too high when you're lining up. You don't want to see no what they call like white meat. You don't want to see any of that, man. Like, this is a perfect net lineup. Alright, now with this lineup process, man, never be afraid to touch your client's head. That was a big problem I had whenever I first started cutting hair. My lineups was not coming out straight. So never be afraid to touch your client's head to the way it needs to be took. So you can see here, I like to start in the middle. You always want to start in the middle and work over to your client's weakest side. My client necessarily didn't have a weak side, so I start over to the left side. And I use the corner of my blade as I'm doing the lineups, bro. The corner of your blade. You never want to use your full blade. Never ever want to use your full blade, man. I promise you, your lineup will. It won't, not every time, but it's a possibility that the lineup will get messed up using the full blade as you go into the corners. There's a reason it's called going to the corners, man. So you can see right here, gonna do is vertical boy kind of at a slant. As you can see, I'm tilting my clipper, not just going straight down. You want to tilt it, just like that. Boom, got a nice low lineup. So when you're going over, you're gonna do just the exact same thing, man. Use your corner of your blade and just keep going over with it. Corner of the blade, corner of the blade. So necessarily, both of his sides was kind of strong, so it really didn't matter which side I chose to go to. Usually, you want to go to your client's weakest side, but he had a very, very strong lineup. Here, I'm gonna do it the same way. I'm gonna go at an angle. You don't want to. I like to. So when I do my vertical bars as well, I like to go at the corner, like kind of at the corner of his eyebrow, the corner of his eyebrow, and I line it up with that. And that's how you're gonna get a perfect boxy lineup. And then with my C cups, I like to go from the bottom. No, I like to work my way up from the top, and then start from the bottom to match. You can see that's a perfect C cup, man. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. So I started from the top, and then I like to work my way from the bottom with the C cup. And that's how you're gonna get that perfect Chicago C that you want. Hear that C right there, man. It's fire. Fire haircut. This is all natural. I haven't put no enhancements on yet. I am gonna add enhancements, but this is all natural, bro. I just left this little clip in here just to show you this is all natural before I put the enhancements. But this is when I put the enhancements right here. Still kind of looks the exact same. You can tell, if you're a barber, man, you can tell that I did add some enhancements on this. But this is a fire low taper, man. Look at this cut. Man, it's a fire low taper. If you think it's fire, man, please put a fire in the comments. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. Do anything that you would like. Fire lineup. This is how you get a boxy lineup, man. I got more tutorials going to be coming out every week. Please give me a like, subscribe, comment if you like the tutorial, and I'm out.